Welcome to Broadway's Calling, where Broadway stars share the moment that they got the call to be on Broadway for that very first time. And every performer has a story, and it only happens once, but we are here to get that story. This week, my very special guest is my dear friend, Josh Breckenridge. Well, way back in the early 2000s, you remember, in the before times, well, I got to play Coal House Walker in Ragtime. And there I am with the lovely Jennifer Shelton. And actually, that's my first Squigs on the right, because Squigs is from the San Diego area. And he actually did that lovely, lovely picture of Jennifer and I. Well, anyway, the cast was full of stars. But Josh was only a teenager when we were doing the show. And he was like 15 or 16. And there he is in the center, probably starring in, I think, Bye Bye Birdie, which he had done for a youth program. But he was just as polished as all of the adult actors. And I mean, I said, something is going to happen to Josh Breckenridge. I said, he has to make it on Broadway. Well, he's now a veteran of several original Broadway casts, including the current cast of the hit musical Come From Away. Also, he's been in some of the most popular television shows on television, like right now. We're talking Blue Bloods, FBI, Blacklist. But I'm most impressed because during the pandemic, Josh created a very personal music project, and he calls himself J. Breckenridge. The album is called Monotony. Well, we'll get that Broadway's Calling story, how he's getting ready to come back to Broadway and Come From Away, as well as how he was able to produce a debut album and several musical videos from New York to San Diego. He was shooting them all over the place, and he did it all during a lockdown. So, Mr. Breckenridge, if you're listening, I got some questions for you. Now, if you are a Broadway lover, please subscribe to our channel. We are usually here live on YouTube and Facebook Live every Sunday at 6 p.m. And even if we don't have a live show for you, we try to upload a short video. So click that bell so that you'll get a reminder when new episodes are airing. But if you want to see some of our old episodes with people like Glenn Close and Wayne Brady, Pee Wee Herman, Christy Altomare, Ben Finkhauser, Lillias White, Chuck Cooper, Lily Cooper, and more, please go looking. Go right ahead. Scroll on through our channel over there on YouTube, and I would just love it. That's where you'll find us, and all you need to do is search for Broadway's Calling with Lance Roberts, and it'll pop on up. Also, you will be notified of our big one-year show guest, as well as some of the upcoming guests, like, you know who's coming on June 27th? Yes! From Ghost, Jennifer Sanchez. She'll be here June 27th. Of course, recently she's been in On Your Feet and Pretty Woman, but also Mike Wartell will be here on July 11th. And Mike, of course, was in Wicked and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You probably have heard that he's going to star as Dion from Dion and the Belmonts in the new musical, The Wanderer. Yep. Mike Wartella is going to be here. So I hope that, and if you wrote it down, great, but don't worry about it, because all you need to do is subscribe, click that bell, and then you'll be reminded when Jen Sanchez and Mike Wartella show up and all the other things that are going to be happening. Now, speaking of Broadway lovers, I wanted to do a huge shout out to one of our major supporters. I'd like to say happy birthday to Brett. Hey, Brett, happy birthday. I hope you had a great birthday weekend. Now, if you'd like to be one of our angels, please go to patreon.com/Broadway's Calling. Now, as we are returning back to normal, I'll be leaving the apartment, going out into the world, going to restaurants with Andrea from Broadway Bites, going to the theaters, taking the stars to the theaters. So y'all, we gonna need a budget. So you can help us out for as little as $5 at the patreon.com. It really will help, because, if we're sitting in a restaurant and we're talking about it, maybe we might have to, buy a beverage or a slice of pizza or something. So that would be so great. So please just go to patreon.com/Broadway's Calling, throw a little coin to us. As I said, we are a live show and anything can happen. But our tech producer, Julie Garnier, who she may be 3,000 miles away, but through this platform, she's able to help me remotely. So here's Julie Garnier.
I'm an Islander. I am an Islander. I am so pumped for this show.
What?
I'm an Islander, just like Josh Breckenridge. I am an Islander. And I'm so excited to have him.
Of course you are. You're part of the Come From Away family. You and Josh are practically, kissing cousins there. Maybe you and Josh can tell me what that fish song is about. It's catchy. I'm an Islander too.
It is everything about Come From Away. The moment I saw, so I have to show you this picture, Lance. I found this photo last night. This is the night that I saw Come From Away and my life changed. December 10th, 2017, 2018. Anyway, this was after the show, backstage. This is before times. I brought Deborah S. Craig as my guest because I had 2 tickets, and there we are with both of our friend Tony nominee Jen Colella, who is amazing and was amazing in the show. So good. And I just remember turning to Deborah as soon as the curtain call was over and saying, "I have to do that." It's been very rare that I'm like, "Oh, I love that show. It's great." But I have to do that. And I told her, I said, if I book this show, I'm going to Gander. I'm going. And I booked the show and I went to Gander. I went. So this was about a week before we started rehearsals for the first national tour of Come From Away. That's me on the tarmac at the Gander Airport. It's one of those old-fashioned airports where you have to get off the plane and you get right to the tarmac. That's at 3 a.m. So I left from Los Angeles, and it takes about 24 hours to get there.
Oh.
On 5 different planes. That's how long it took me. And my favorite story is the very first moment I arrived, they lost my luggage. So I was a true Come From Away. I had nothing. I had my dog in a bag. I had nothing. And Oswald Fudge, who, as you know from the show, is the policeman in the show, he refused to let me get a rental car. So he was my chauffeur for the week. He drove me everywhere. The real Oz Fudge, the real STFD Oz Fudge. He drove me around for the entire week. And because I didn't have anything, I didn't even have a toothbrush. The very first thing that morning when I woke up, he drove me to Shoppers, which everybody knows Shoppers from the show. Right. So here's me at Shoppers. And I got toiletries, and I went back to my hotel, and he waited in the parking lot until I took a shower and got myself cleaned up. And then the second photo was we went to the SPCA and we met Bonnie and all the animals at the Gander SPCA.
Wow.
And that was my first moment. I've been friends with everyone I've met in Gander ever since. When the pandemic started, we started doing a group Zoom. I call it the Gander Happy Hour. We do it every Friday. And I just want to show you one picture of one of our Zooms. This is everybody in Gander. And also, first, let's see, like the woman in the purple and her husband, that's Nick and Diane, the real Nick and Diane. They're in Houston, Texas. Yeah.
And so they're the ones who fall in love in the show.
And then Kevin J is also one of the characters in the show, and he's also in Texas. So we get together every Friday and just catch up and see how we're all doing and check in with each other. And it's the best thing about this show is the message of generosity and kindness and selflessness and thinking of others first.
Yes.
And that's who these people are. And I'm just constantly blessed every day that they're in my life. I just love them all so much. I really
love
do.
I love that. Well, I can't wait till Josh gets out here because I'm sure you and he can share.
We have a lot to talk about. Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
if there are any Gander people out there, please say hello in the comments. We'd love, to have you on the show and to put you up on the Chiron. That would be fantastic. Oh, Kathleen Hart says the show, it was brilliant. And it's Kevin's birthday, Lisa Fudge says.
There's Lisa. Lisa is Oz's daughter. She's she was in that Zoom photo I just sent. And today is Kevin J's birthday. That's right. It is. Happy birthday, Kevin J.
Happy birthday, Kevin J. Well, yeah. I can't wait till you come back and share some of your stories with Josh, Julie.
Me too. In the meantime, have a great show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You guys come from away. A lot of people say, oh, that's the 9/11 musical, because that's just sort of how, it seemed like that's what it was about. But the story is about how these 38 planes with 7,000 passengers were taken to a town with only 9,000 people. So it's really not a 9/11 musical. It's a 9/12 musical, because it's about how these total strangers took care of each other and made life long bonds, as you saw with Julie and our friends from Gander, after 9/11. So it's sort of like what we can do when we do have something terrible happen and how we can all get together. And basically what I love about the show, now that we're going through the pandemic and we're moving through it, it's the playbook of our time right now. And the show comes back on Broadway, and it's very exciting that it's come back, because there's some famous titles like Frozen and Mean Girls that have closed up on Broadway because of COVID and the Broadway shutdown. But Josh, our guest today, and Come From Away, will be back in September.
On the southeast side of 45th Street in New York City, there is a Broadway theater. In that theater, there is a musical called Come From Away.
On final approach, we're coming into runway Schoenfeld, landing September 2021.
Suddenly, there's nothing between you and Come From Away.
Well, our guest, Josh Breckenridge, has been a part of the Broadway company since they opened 3 years prior to the shutdown. And he had been busy understudying several roles and having to know the entire show, because he's also the dance captain. But once the shutdown happened, he went from very busy to very bored. But he took the opportunity to create a musical alter ego called J. Breckenridge, and created a very personal music project, which included an album and several musical short films. And here's one of them.
I say shoo shoo ba-doo, you say boo ba-doo, get a clue boo ba-doo. I'm not forgiving you no matter what you do. Cut off the social ties, shut off the loop of lies. But often just like flies, you swarm without a warning sign. Buzz buzzing in my ear, but I've been crystal clear. Your budding welcome here, behold your biggest fear. Not I won't take you back, not a return attack, but just a simple fact. Your track record will stay intact. You laid a hand, I'll lay one back. I say shoo shoo ba-doo, you say boo-ba-doo, get a clue boo-ba-doo. I'm not forgiving you no matter what you do. I say shoo shoo ba-doo, you say boo-ba-doo, get a clue boo-ba-doo. I'm not forgiving you no matter what you do. I must have lost my mind, missed all the million signs. That much I'll claim as mine, but there I draw the line. I bet you have a hunch, this song's about that punch. We played that night a bunch, the night I came to find what I can tolerate, what I need in a mate. I hope you get this straight, your track record will stay intact. You laid a hand, I'll lay one back. I say, shoot, shoot, you say, get off, I'm not forgiving you no matter what you do. I say, shoot, shoot, you say, get off, I'm not forgiving you no matter what you do.
Ladies and gentlemen, Broadway's calling Josh Breckenridge.
What's up, Lance?
Hey, shoot-boop-a-doo.
Shoot-boop-a-doo, man. How are you?
How you doing? That's the jam, that song.
Oh, man, you surprised me. I didn't know you were going to play a music video.
Yes, of course. I had to play your song from your new album.
Oh,
you know, now I just got to ask you, Josh.
Yeah.
Do I call you J. Dot now?
Well, Jay Breckenridge, sir.
Oh, all the way.
All the way.
Is the dot silent?
The dot is silent. But I'll let you call me J. Dot, whatever.
J. Dot. That's J. Dot right there.
J. Dot. You gonna do J. Dot jam?
I say shoot boobie
Hey.
hey. Oh, it's such a jam. Now,
Oh,
it's so
man.
funny. It's an up-tempo song,
Yeah.
but the message in the song is not such a bop,
Right.
right?
It's a bop. Is what
Yeah,
it is.
it's a bop. It's about abuse and, telling somebody, keep on walking.
Talk to the hand.
Yeah,
It's about a domestic abuse situation that I was in some years ago. And I was just, it was, of course, a horrible, horrible time, but I'm happy during this pandemic that I was able to kind of turn it into something creative and positive.
Wow. Well, it's so fantastic. And now you shot those videos because if people look up your videos on YouTube, they'll see sometimes you're on the beach, sometimes you're in Times Square. Were you jetting back and forth?
All over the place. Well, during the pandemic, I came out here to sunny California, where I am right now, in my family's lovely game room. So I shot the first video for my first single, Come to Me, on the beaches of LA. And I shot the second video for you in a studio here in LA as well. And then Home is Where the Art is a song about being torn between life's decisions of where home actually is, where you're, where do you call home, right? Where the art is, where in my situation is where my chosen profession lies, or home where my blood is. And so I thought, fittingly to film half of it here in California, half of it in my chosen home in New York.
Brilliant.
So that's those Times Square visuals. And then Not Forgiving You, I shot in New York as well. So a mix of East and West.
I love that. Well, I mean, it's like I didn't know what we were going to talk about, but I do want to say, and I was going to bring it up later on, but since you talked about Home is Where the Art is, it is my favorite song. So I'm definitely showing a clip from that later on. Yes, I really love that song, and I can't wait to all of you out there hear that. And of course, if you're enjoying Broadway and Josh's new music, please feel free to subscribe and, like I said, or join our Patreon so that we can continue bringing this kind of music. And Josh is one of my first guests and I talked about Jen Sanchez and Mike Wartella. They're all Broadway people who are creating new music. And that's sort of like the theme, I'm trying to support, sort of to show how Broadway may have shut down or things in our lives may shut down, but there are ways to work through it. And like Josh said, I mean, even though he had, a domestic abuse problem, he was able to sort of harness that and create art from it. And so I'm trying to like celebrate all of these Broadway artists who have like just turned to like creating other things. Even this show came out of the pandemic, you know, just creating, and we can constantly do that. And I just say to everyone, like, whatever your passion is, don't let people stop you. Just do it. Just do it. It's just like it'll happen. You'll feel joy, and you'll probably help someone else while you're doing it. So, Josh, that's why I'm very excited that you were here. Not only because I just thought you were like uber talented, you know, when we met when you were a teenager, but you're just killing it and killing it. And I just when we met doing the ragtime, the ragtime. I showed a picture of you, and there you are. Was that Bye Bye Birdie? That picture?
That is Bye Bye Birdie, Albert Peterson, right there.
Oh my God, that's so great. Well, I love how like the parents in like the San Diego area, because I always say if you were looking for real talent, you have to go to San Diego. I mean, Charles Brown and Adam Lambert and Melinda Gilb, you know, the whole. Yeah, Jacob Heron, Deidre Heron, like all these people, you know, from San Diego. And it's like what I seemed like to realize was that all of the parents were into it. And your parents were so encouraging and so ecstatic, you know. It's just and now you were also in Book of Mormon on tour, right?
I was the first national tour. There I am.
I know. So wait, okay, you're like what hold the picture up. Which one are you there? I see Stanley Wayne Mathis on the end.
I know. And then go 2 notches over. I'm third from the left in the Chase shirt. I was Gotswana in the Book of Mormon First National Tour. So the maggots guy, I'll say.
Oh my God. What's the line? What's the line? You can say it. It's a family show.
You want to say it?
Yeah.
I have maggots in my scrotum. Just saying that 8 times a week, having my mama see that show was,
oh my God,
everything. She bought a pair of the boxer in the lobby for merch. They have a pair of boxer shorts that say "I have maggots in my scrotum" on the back. It's one of her many 90s of show swag for me that she wears around the house. So
well, hey, you know, I love it. Oh wait, Ralph Johnson and Katie Wilson from our ragtime. They're here.
What's up, guys? Aww.
Hey, Katie Wilson. How are you?
Guys.
Ralph Johnson. Oh, man. That's so good to see you guys.
Ralph, I love you.
Oh, my goodness. And Katie Wilson says, you did the pandemic pivot, y'all.
Hey. Not the pandemic pivot. I got to make up the dance move. Thank you, Katie.
And hello. I want to say hello to Gloria Schnur, who is listening while coming back from New York City. So that's great to know that it's like we're a podcast. We're a vodcast. We're a video podcast, but you can listen to us as well as watch us. So that's great. Well, Katie, thank you. We love you as well. And it's good to see you. That's so great.
Both of them just like swept the floor with those roles in ragtime. Henry Ford and who did she play?
Emma Goldman.
Emma Goldman, duh. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my God.
I know. It's so fantastic. Well, I want to know, and of course, you know, everyone who comes on to Broadway's Calling has to answer this question, but where were you when you finally got the call to be on Broadway that first time?
Oh, man. I was I was walking on the streets of New York going to another audition.
Oh, really?
And I got the call from my agent, and Joe Mantello is the incredible director that gave me my Broadway debut in the Ritz at Studio 54 in that Terrence McNally revival. Bam!
Wow.
Right on time. Scantily clad. I wore a mini towel in that show and afro wig. That was my only costume. I remember during Broadway Cares, we auctioned off my sweaty towel. And I had to do like a little dance and walk up to one of the doors and turn around and like pop the towel off, and someone was waiting in the wings with the robe for me. Just you just saw the derriere, just the behind.
Just the derriere.
Just the derriere. But yeah, great memories with that show. Yeah, so I was just on the streets of New York in Times Square, walking to an audition and got that call. And of course, that gave me all the confidence to go in and audition for whatever I was auditioning for that day. I don't know. I was
wow.
For that. Yeah.
Wow. And so your first Broadway show was a play.
Was a play, and was just like 2.5 months or so after I got to the city. It was a dream.
Wow.
I remember I was working at for a short while at the Ambassador Theater at Chicago, at the show Chicago, watching. I remember when I first got there doing theater refreshments, I said, this is a great idea. I get to see people, Brenda Braxton and all these amazing performers do what they love. And then cut to like a month later, I was like, oh God, I get to watch Brenda Braxton and all these people do what I love.
Wow.
And I should be up there. And so it got a little depressing. And then I got the call and was like, I'm out of here. Let's start the dream. So yeah, that was an amazing time for me and a great start.
That really is great. But hey, there are worse things than having to watch Brenda Braxton, because she is just phenomenal. She was, I saw her in the show as well. I mean, we worked together years ago, but she just, first of all, she doesn't age, because she still looks like she did when we worked together in the 90s. She's now on The Good Fight. If anyone, she has the shaven head now. It's like she looks so fantastic, but she was phenomenal in Chicago. So that's very, very exciting. Well, we do have a very special treat for you because, between you and Julie being and come from away, we have Andrea from our Broadway Bites section, and she has a little tribute for you and the folks up in Gander. So I would love if Andrea and Julie would join Josh here.
Andrea. Hey, Julie.
Hello. That's
hey,
Andrea there. And before we start, you guys, I can't. Okay, Kathy Brombacher, who ran the Moonlight, is here, and she says, love your show, Lance, and all your creative backstory. So thank you. So thrilled to hear about our ragtime connection and the San Diego talent. Awesome. Thank you, Kathy Brombacher. And just a little trivia, Kathy Brombacher and I share the same birthday, December 18th. Yes.
Hey.
So it's me, Kathy Brombacher, Steven Spielberg, and Brad Pitt.
And me.
And Julie.
And Julie.
How random. That's amazing.
We've been sharing our birthday for years. Lance and I have been celebrating our birthday together for years.
You didn't make the list, Julie. You didn't make the list.
I love how I'm right in front of you.
It's like, hello.
Hi. Me.
Your number one birthday twin. I also, Anastasia Bain says, Brenda Braxton is a legend. Absolutely. Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, so because we have Andrea and Julie here, Andrea has cooked up something because she had a little challenge from Julie. So Julie, why don't you tell us all about our little Come From Away tribute challenge you had for Andrea?
Well, sure. So, Josh, you've also been to Gander, so you know all about the food there, right? You've got the fish with cheese. So that's what that looks like.
There it is.
And, and we visited many restaurants and things throughout the course of my time there. But my very first meal was a traditional Newfoundland breakfast at the Gander Bread Box, which is across the street from my motel, the Sinbad's Motel in Gander, Newfoundland. You did? Oh my God! That's amazing.
Yes.
And the one thing I couldn't wait to try was Toutons. Mm-hmm. This is my meal. This is my first meal. Those are Toutons. Traditionally, they're served with grill marks, but if you make them at home, a lot of people don't have the grill marks in them. A couple days later, the mayor of Appleton, which is a neighboring city, Durham is his name. He's in the show. He's the guy with the the hat pulled down, and there's booze in the basement. That guy. He invited me and our production stage manager. We were there together in Gander visiting, and he invited us to his home and made us breakfast. And these are the Toutons that he made for us. That's Durham right there at the kitchen, making us Toutons. And that is the traditional breakfast, which includes moose sausage, fried bologna, a fish cake, and down at the bottom there, that is a Towton, and then bacon and eggs. So I challenged Andrea to make Toutons. And I have to say, I am highly impressed. Highly impressed.
Okay.
At how these turned out. So,
wait, Josh, have you had Toutons?
I've actually never had Toutons. I've had cottle gratin. When we went there, we got screeched in, and we got to kiss the fish, and I ate like a fish jerky, and I've had screech, but I've never had Toutons.
Wow! Wait, screech, is that a type of, what is that? A type of
screech
fish?
is a liquor. Is a what is it?
Alcohol.
It's rum, right?
Oh,
it's like a beyond aged rum. It's like somebody poured rum in a smelly shoe and you drank it out of that,
and then mixed it with motor oil and gasoline.
Yes.
Wait, and this is a good drink?
Yeah.
No.
Makes you an honorary Newfoundlander as part of the inducting into the
Okay, you have to have it. You have to have it. I guess it's like, well, we have moonshine, which doesn't necessarily taste good, but you feel delicious afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried you're going to challenge me on some like nursing beans for 5 hours or something like that. I was like, oh my God.
I'm not that mean. I would never do that to you. I like you way too much.
Moose sausage. I'm like, I got to look for casings now and moose. Where do I get moose? I mean,
where do you get a moose these days?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I was very happy to take the challenge on.
So let's see the challenge and see how Andrea did with the Gander challenge with our tribute to Come From Away.
On the northeast tip of North America, on an island called Newfoundland, there's an airport. And next to it is a town called Gander.
We're going to make some Toutons. What you need is about a pound of white bread dough. You can either make or buy from your local grocery. And also you can purchase it in the frozen food aisle. And I just kind of cheated and went with the frozen route. Just gonna take a piece of the dough. Okay. And you're gonna roll it and make little balls into 1.5 ounces. What we wanna do is make sure that we go slow and low. So turn on your stove to a low flame. We're gonna add about a pat of butter, 2 tablespoons of canola oil. Gonna let that melt a little bit, and while that's melting, we're gonna go ahead and prep the little round balls of dough into little flat discs. Think of like little hockey pucks, okay? So we're gonna flatten them out. I've also added a little bit of flour on the plate so they don't get too sticky. So I would only place about 4 at a time. That way there's room for them to expand. Start to be cooked golden on both sides. If you feel that they've gotten too golden and the inside is a little bit raw, go ahead and place them in your oven for about 8 to 10 minutes, about 200 degrees. And they should fully cook on the inside and you'll save them. They'll still be tasty. These are looking fabulous and they smell amazing. I cannot wait to taste them.
That looked delicious.
So good. And so apparently the traditional way is to have them with dark molasses, which that reminds me of being at my grandmama's house down in North Carolina and sopping up them biscuits with the molasses.
Sopping up biscuits. Be a biscuit.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't try and act like y'all ain't sopped up no biscuit with some molasses, because y'all that is good for you.
Unapologetically black, Lance.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I've been black for a very long time. You know, and if it means, what does Lisa Fudge say? She did a good job. Oh, wait, Newfoundlander. How do I say it again? Do you know how to say it? Newfoundlander approved. Well, thank you, Lisa. I can't wait to taste them. I'm going to have, like Andrea, when she makes up the things, because she's in California, I'm in New York. I'm just going to have her she has to just start shipping things to me, because you know, every week she makes something on the show. I sit here and go, oh my God, I can't wait to eat. I'm salivating. Well, salivating, that's a good transition, because I like drool when I listen to the cast album of the Scottsboro Boys, Candor and Ebb show. I'm so sorry. I never got to see it. I know Julie got to see it twice. She loves the show, but I missed it. But I remember the day that I tried to go. It was Wednesday, December 1st, 2010. And I remember I was doing the Pee Wee Herman show on Broadway, and we didn't do Wednesday matinees. So I go down to your theater, and they said that they had canceled the performance because there was a lack of ticket sales. I was like, oh my God, but I had planned to come back the following week. But that day I went Christmas shopping, and I was over at the American Eagle, and I got a call that said that I was going to be in another Broadway show, Sister Act, and rehearsals were starting soon. So I got distracted and I forgot about the Scottsboro Boys, and unfortunately it closed the following week. And I would hear so much chatter about the show, and there was like this controversy about the minstrel style of the show by a lot of people who had not even seen it. They didn't even know the content in the context for which the show was being presented. But I always wanted to know from the cast, because I didn't get to talk to you during that time, or Christian Dante White, or Brandon, or anyone of the people who were in the show. I wanted to know, like, you know, you guys were hearing about the controversy, right?
We were seeing the controversy. The show, for those who did see it, we started in the house. In the lobby. We would group in the lobby, and then we would walk through the house at the beginning of the show and greet the audience. And we would see through the lobby glass doors picketers and people with the signs, and there were some leading Black organizations actually that were shaming us and saying, you know, shame on you for degrading your people and just jumping at the chance to get Broadway debuts, and how dare you, and we were just like so frustrated, because we wanted people to know that we were actually doing the opposite.
Yeah. Now give people a little background on the story of the actual Scottsboro Boys, and then the concept that Susan Stroman had for the show on Broadway.
Sure. Yeah. So the Scottsboro Boys is a story, 1938, about 9 African-American boys who were wrongfully accused of raping 2 white women at that time. They were hoboing on a train, which was common then, and there was the train was pulled over because they heard that there was something going on, and the women, because they were prostitutes and homeless, you know, themselves, they pointed the finger at the boys and said, you know, they raped us, they touched us, they, you know, objectified us, and in order to get out of their own punishment. So as you can imagine, the trials did not go well at that time. They absolutely took, you know, the public took the girls' word as the gospel truth. The boys went to trial after trial, guilty. Long story short is that each of the boys had a tragic death, whether it was alcoholism or you know, dying in prison, or as you can imagine, their lives were ruined. And so it was an honor for all of us to tell their individual stories. I played Olin Montgomery, and to tell his story every night was such an honor. And we'd start the show every night. Coleman Domingo would lead us in a little phrase that we would say, which is, if you're going to tell it right. Tell the story.
And for those of you out there, Coleman Domingo is in the phenomenal production of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, the film with Viola Davis. So look him up. But I wanted to, I think I have a picture of you as your character. It's the Josh and Josh picture. Is that you with the glasses to the right of Josh Henry?
That's me.
Yes. Okay. What number was that?
And Jones. That was Commencing in Chattanooga. That was basically the second one in Chattanooga. Exactly, on the Southern Railroad line.
Oh, so my goodness.
So what's funny, I'm going to bring it full circle and say that Beowulf Borrett is the set designer of the Scottsboro Boys, also the set designer of Come From Away. And I joke, as the dance captain of Come From Away, I joke with people in the cast sometimes when they complain about all of the choreography when they need to learn the show and moving this and that. And I was like, listen, we had all these chairs and then some in Scottsboro Boys, and we had pegs. You would stick these little pegs in the holes at the top of the chairs and then the bottom of the chairs to stack the chairs to make that train that you saw in that photo, to make a jail cell, a courthouse. So a lot of moving pieces. So thank you, Beowulf. But we really had a blast telling that story, and such a beautiful time. John Kander, Kander and Ebb, it was one of their last shows. We Are Like This. I had him over at my house along with Susan Stroman and Tommy Thompson for some food.
Wow.
So they're such a great family. Susan Stroman gave us so much license to tell our story and tell it right. And I'll never forget the day that she said to us, you know what, I don't know what it's like to be a Black man, but I can tell you what it's like to be a woman. And this is a story, much like all of Kander and Ebb's shows, about an underdog, about underdogs, about people fighting for their rights, right? And to succeed and to win. And so really it was absolutely, Come From Away is right. It's basically a tie, but Scottsboro Boys really is the most memorable and incredible performance of my career to date. So
wow. Yeah, I mean, I know there are productions that pop up here and there, but again, I only know the CD and the pictures and know you from the show and a couple of people from the show. But it's one of those that I really wanted to see. And we did touch on the concept of the show, of this sort of the minstrel aspect, why there were certain people upset about that. What's your take on that?
Sure. So minstrelsy, the leading form of entertainment of our country for 100 years, right? The makeup is nine minstrels, 2 inmen, so the Tambour and Bones characters, and an interlocutor. And so our show was perfect in that there were 9 boys. So Tommy Thompson and Susan Stroman and John Kander, they all came together and figured out this is a perfect vehicle. It's grotesque. The juxtaposition is incredible. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it again. Where there are audience members that will laugh at a minstrel style joke and then in the same breath catch themselves and question, what am I laughing about? And so the show itself, the show was brilliant that way, in that it was they used this vehicle of a minstrel show to tell this story of the boys. So there was like a sarcastic air to the show, and part of what was controversial was that there was a number where we were in blackface in the show. The only reason that we were in blackface was to take it off, and of course that was probably the biggest thing that most people had trouble with, in addition to the N-word being used and a lot of controversial dialogue and language. It's a rough story, but it's a story that needs to be told, and even more so right now. We know how Black men are viewed and treated in our country. This is the type of show that needs to be heard. At the time, I think part of the reason why we did not last so long is that if you look historically at Kander and Ebb shows, for the most part, they're flops when they come out, right?
Yeah.
And then they're revisited decades later, years later, and they're huge hits because they're always ahead of the curve. They're always
and people realize they're spectacular,
Yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping that it'll be revived. I'll be too old to play one of the boys, but who knows? Maybe I can play another character, Captain Bones character. I know that,
or you can choreograph or direct it,
or restage with Fro's blessing. I was her dance captain on that as well, so it was very. I know that show like the back of my hand, so who knows? Maybe I could.
Now, history did sort of like, made, how do you say it? They cleaned up its act, because weren't the Scottsboro Boys eventually exonerated?
Pardoned. Yeah,
they were pardoned. Yeah,
and way after the fact, when I believe oh God, was it 2013?
Yeah,
it was when Scottsboro Boys was in London. I did the very first production, or very first reading of the Scottsboro Boys, and it was the day that Obama won the election.
Wow!
And myself and I think Rodney Hicks are the two original Scottsboro Boys. And I remember we did the first reading to the Vineyard Theater, to the Guthrie out of town, to the Lyceum on Broadway, and that was my extent of my involvement with the show proper. And then from there, they did LA and the mini tour in London and all that. So.
Oh my goodness! Susan Spector says she saw you guys at the Vineyard and it was brilliant. Oh my goodness!
Well, and you know what, Lance? Anyone who hasn't seen it, I don't know. I know you're aware of this, but at the
Lincoln
Center, you can watch our off-Broadway production. We had time we got that film. The Broadway production closed so prematurely that we never got to record it, but you can see the off-Broadway production, not starring Joshua Henry, but Brandon Victor Dixon.
Oh, wow.
He was equally phenomenal in the role. And yes, that's another way to view it.
Well, that's really a really good tip, because the New York Library of Performing Arts, right next door to the Vivian Beaumont at Lincoln Center, is great for a lot of shows that we talk about here on Broadway's Calling, things from our history, and we weren't alive yet, but I think they started like 72. And they've been, recording a lot of shows, and it's a great way to see things that we didn't see. But thanks, Josh, because I think that might be my first trip to the library is to see Scottsboro Boys, because you guys, there were so many phenomenal voices, and it's like no surprise that most of you have gone on to other Broadway shows. From Memphis to Motown to Ain't Too Proud, Kiss Me Kate, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and both of the Joshes, you and Josh Henry, both have records out
at the same time.
Yes, it is crazy.
And the same director, Mateo Marquez, directed 2 more videos. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is where I have to share with everyone my favorite song from your album. It's Home is Where the Art Is. Enjoy.
Started west but headed east. Thought it best to wet my feet. Starry dreams I'd yet to reach. Home is where the art is. Came from palms and waves and sand. Came to subways, street meet stands. Change of pace and facing plans. Home is where the art is. Solo is the mode I'm in, longing for the road I've driven round and round before. Was I wrong for wanting more? One foot's planted firmly on an island. I have learned to be my home, away from home, away from all that I have known. Inching towards the world I knew. The other half of me pursues the life I left behind. Have I been blind to find that home is where the art is?
I love that song so much.
Thank you, man.
I love that. It's one of those songs that I think Rose Taylor says, wow, so many chills. It's one of those songs that it just applies to, whether you're in show business or anything, if you move away from where you grew up or where, everything supports you and nurtures you, and you're sort of constantly torn. And I really appreciate it, because now that I'm back in New York, which this is where I grew up, I would have these feelings when the opposite, because I was in California for all of those years, thinking about, longing to be back on Broadway, which it took 30 years to get back.
But you killed it. Show up.
But it took forever. But it's like, it feels so good now. It's like when I walk around the neighborhoods, and whether it's in Harlem or Washington Heights, it's just, I get it. So I ask you, like, when you did get to go home, like, was it healing? Like, what were the feelings being there, having the time, being near your family, during the pandemic?
Well, it currently is healing, because I'm home right now again. I got to go to New York a few times for some gigs, but for the most part since May of 2020. So it's been incredible. It's been incredible. I've been here for birthdays, graduation now. I went to a retirement party for my mom's best friend and colleague last night. I'm able to be here and present. My dog, my Wheaton Terrier, Teddy, he is roaming this 1.5 acres of land to live on. So he's in heaven. He's going to cut me in my sleep when I take him back to New York. But really, it's been incredible. It's been really fun to be home. We've done our own little home improvement program, basically Breckenridge style, making a chicken coop, built a deck, built some cement stairs that I'm looking at right now. Like, we made this game room. I painted this room and that racing stripe right there.
See, this is what people have been doing all over. People are like getting back, and like they're baking bread. They're,
I did not bake bread, but
but everyone's like doing things that we always felt like we didn't have time to do. And it's like, I know your mother's happy. I know you lost your dad a couple of years ago. Always sorry to hear about that. Because your family just like has that energy. It's like every time I see pictures of you guys, I just love it. It sort of beams, and it's really beautiful. So I'm glad you're having this chance to be home to do this. I did have a question about that first video. And if you're just joining us, we're here with Josh Breckenridge, or Jay Breckenridge, from Come From Away, but he created this album, and I played this song earlier, and it's a bop. You're dancing to it, but it's really about domestic abuse. And I just wanted to know, when you created that, you had said that, you were able to get it out. I wanted to know, the person who did this, did they actually hear it? Have they like?
I don't know if they've heard it. They've reached out to me, slid into, not even my DMs, but commented on a post of mine, marketing post for the video, and liked it. And I had to show a friend of mine, because Corey Jones is a phenomenal actor. He's a friend of mine. He was my best friend on tour. He was the general in Book of Mormon, and he was there that night when the fist fight commenced.
Whoa!
And I had to scream for him to come and
stop it.
Mock me. Yeah. So I had to text him and let him know that this individual liked this post that was about them. Either they weren't aware and they're in some magical land where they're not aware that that's happening, or they've forgiven themselves, or they think they don't care. I don't know. I've since kind of cut off ties, but yeah. So I don't know. I've yet to have a phone call or a text message directly dealing with the subject matter of the piece. But I'm just glad that it's out there. I hope that it informs, it's healing for other people. For me, it's not a subject matter to really dance about or laugh about or anything, but it is like a sort of mantra or a confidence building kind of talk to the hand song where it's my energy around the subject, what I need to get me through moments like that. And I think that it's an important subject matter that isn't talked about enough. So hopefully, hopefully people get something from it. People in other situations like mine are able to relate to it and gain some strength from it and make it their anthem.
Wow. Well, thank you for the music. The first time I heard that you were starting to do some music, a lot of people do the music on the Instagram. You go, oh, bless their heart. Isn't that cute? It's like, and there you were, and, I'm just like a supporter because it's like, you're like my little brother, for 20 years here. And it's like, and I see you, just with like your ukulele. And I'm like, what? A black man with a ukulele? I don't see that, it's like, it's just like, all of my white guy friends, they got a guitar. That's how they get all their dates. And I'm like, oh, I see. Josh is trying to throw down. He got a stringed instrument. So now, I know like you're at home and I don't know if you have instruments or anything, but like, could you do like a little, like, I don't know, a little ditty or something? Do you have, there it is. You do have it.
I actually got this little beauty at Takumu Ukulele in Hawaii.
Really?
The Book of Mormon tour closed down, and our first national tour closed down, and our last city was Honolulu, and I was there, and I was like, you know what, I need to finally pick up an instrument, and got this, and this is kind of turned me onto the guitar, which I just purchased for the pandemic. I'm still practicing, but
I need one too. So maybe we can take lessons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but this little lady, I wrote every song on the album, starting with just basic chords on this, and actually James Frazee, my music producer that I created this record with, we worked mostly remotely. The album itself was done in my parents' RV that I'm looking at right now. That is my apartment. Now, when I say RV, it's like a tour bus, so it's big.
All right.
But yeah, we did it remotely from the RV, and I would send him tracks of me, letting him know how I saw the orchestrations and basic chord progressions and a chord chart, and yeah, so very, very basic beginnings with this beauty.
Oh, can you do a little like Broadway's Calling Unplugged for us? A
little bit? Maybe. Let's see. Hopefully it's in tune. Okay. Yeah, do a little bit of Come to Me, my first single.
Oh, okay.
This is Come to Me. Tired of making the first move, tired of taking the leap, tired of breaking the ice with the roll of the dice, and the snake eyes bite deep. Through with the humor and dances, done with the not you, it's me. Over the neck-breaking glances they throw at the chances to finally be free. For once I wanna be the worship one. A yes or no, or maybe in my hands. Protection from rejection is my plan. It's where I stand. Come to me.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Hey,
yes, we got some. Katie Wilson says love.
Oh, beautiful.
BMW Jen says beautiful. Anastasia loves your ukulele. Yes, and awesome lyrics. I was just going to say that. I mean, you've been around the Cantor and Ebb because I guess you done picked up, something in the lyric department.
Thank you, Katie. I emailed and talked to John Cantor and was like, could you listen to a couple of these numbers earlier on? And was like, I told my mom, I was like, you realize this is start spreading news.
Right.
This man listened to my songs, gave me his thoughts and notes on it, and I took his suggestions and rolled with it. So it was such an honor. But yeah, thank you guys. That's come to me. That's how it started. The whole album started that way. The album's 12 tracks, all original music and stuff that I hope people can relate to and jive with. It's retro pop soul is what we're terming the style, and it's a record it's a mood. It's a record to go through and jam to, and I hope people pick it up and or digitally pick it up and check it out. And actually, Lance, I want to put a little plug in there and say that yes, this is the official announcement that my record is going to be on vinyl. I just actually, I know, right? I just got the testers in from the plant that's creating the record, and it sounds incredible. I just gave the green light. It's the finishing touches with all the artwork and everything is being finalized, and it'll be available July 9th. We're going to start a pre-order sometime soon.
Okay.
The latter part of this month, but July 9th is the date when the vinyl will be available.
And then, so now you have a website where you'll have like all the information. And
yes.
What's your website? And we'll send it to Julie.
Yeah, j-breckenridge.com. Bam.
Oh,
quick.
Bam.
Ready.
Hey, we're trying to do things. That's why we're trying to get people, to join our Patreon so that we can, start paying Julie because she's on it, right?
Yeah, she's on it.
It's like we're trying to make a show, y'all, pumping up these Broadway people and connecting with all of you out there. So I really hope you consider joining our patreon.com, for, it's $5, y'all. And just we're going to be doing something as we head towards our 1-year anniversary. You hear? We're almost there. And right now, I'm continuing to support the Broadway stars who have been creating music. And we're here with Josh Breckenridge, and he just did a live unplugged version of his song, Come to Me. And I guess, Come to Me, Come From Away. That's
Come on.
Come on. I love that. Well, that was very exciting. Now it's like you and Ben Fankhauser have sung live on the show. So you're the two who sung live, and it's like I'm always afraid. I'm like, oh, can we do this? But we're gonna try it, and we're gonna do some things in studios and live on the stage, for the next year. But I thought it's always fun to try this, and that was really, really beautiful and special. And before we leave,
yes,
I just want to say that I know that you're featured in a new musical that we don't know if it's coming to Broadway or not, starring Drew Gayling.
Oh,
do you want to say anything about it, or is that still
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's. I mean, it's a Tom Kitt musical. I freaking love it. I played a Secret Serviceman to Drew Gayling's President of the United States. If you guys remember the movie Dave from in the 90s, probably around the time that Ghost came out, right?
Well, Kevin Kline, I think it was 93 and Ghost was 91. Yeah, about the similar. Yeah.
So it's beautiful. The score is amazing. The book, everything, the direction. Tina Landau and it's just an amazing team. I don't know. It's kind of petered off, much like another show of mine that didn't make it, didn't come in, as Tales of the City, which actually ACT Theater is doing a streaming of it this June 21st to the 27th. And you guys can go to my website, j-breckenridge.com, and look at get tickets that way.
Oh, okay. And you and Wesley Taylor are starring
Wesley Taylor, Judy Kay, Betsy Wolfe, Mary Birdsong, just an incredible cast. And I was so sad that most people didn't get to see it unless you saw it the summer of 2011, and right after the Scottsboro Boys, actually.
Oh, okay.
In San Francisco at ACT. So now you can see it on the small screen.
But yeah, is it ACT will be streaming it.
ACT will be streaming at ACT-SF.org, I think is their site.
Okay, I'll look that up.
Yeah, look it up and correct me. You might have to fact check me on that. But that'll be June 21st to the 27th.
Okay.
Tickets are available now, so you can see Baby Josh like 10 years ago and Weston belting a love ballad out to each other, and also I'm in my undies again in that. So hey, that's more incentive to come and see.
I mean, from maggots in your scrotum.
Oh man,
your derriere. Your derriere and the Broadway cares.
What next?
What next?
And actually, What Next is a show that I'm doing. I had to sign an NDA for, but a TV show that I did on Showtime that I filmed 3 weeks ago. It's coming out this fall, and I might be scantily clad in that too. So we'll have to see.
Oh, okay. Well, you're grown. You do what you got to do.
I'm not 16-year-old in ragtime anymore.
That's right. No, you aren't. But I did want to show some of, we showed you as a kid, but in ragtime, Eric Anderson, his daughter was Alexa. And I mean, she's now grown up. And then Jacob Herron, who is in Book of Mormon on Broadway, here he is with Victoria Strong. And then Deirdre Herron, who is just, she's played Dorothy in a lot of productions of The Wizard of Oz, and she's been touring with the USO for years while having 4 kids.
I was going to say, and she is the Partridge Family.
Oh my goodness, it's fantastic. And she was actually my neighbor here in Harlem before I moved up to this place. But it's so exciting. All of you kids who have grown up and doing this great work on Broadway and beyond. And I'm so happy that you have the NDA, the secret thing coming out. So people just going to have to be checking out your website to see what's going on. And I didn't post, but your reel for your television shows that you've been doing, like the FBI and Blacklist and Blue Bloods, is so daggone good. But we're not allowed to really show NBC shows, so I can't show those tapes anymore.
Go to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say. But y'all can go to YouTube, and because they got a big deal. I ain't got no big deal until y'all start sending the $5. Then maybe we'll have a deal, and we can pay for some clips to show people's work.
Well, and you can also see the 4 music videos that I shot during the pandemic that way too on my channel.
Yes, on your channel, and your channel is J. Breckenridge.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, I mean, Josh, this has been fantastic, and I love pumping up the music because it's so good, and I'm so proud of you. I can't imagine all the production work, just getting all the parts together and learning choreography and dancing in the sand. But this has been fantastic. Thank you, Ralph. He says it's a terrific afternoon. Thanks so much. Hugs. Love to you both. Love to you, Ralph. Thank you, Kathy Brombacher. And then Katie Wilson had to leave. Her son is calling. She'll watch the end later. Well, Katie, we're saying thank you for watching. And I think her son is Kevin, if I remember. So hello, Kevin. And so this was lovely to have the Ragtime people. And I hope if you're big fans that come from away, that you get your tickets. And because Josh will be back on Broadway in September. Check out his album, Monotony. Josh, you have to say anything to your fans out there?
Just stay tuned, guys. A lot of exciting things happening. And Monotony is on all platforms. Go out there, listen to it from top to bottom. I hope you love it, and hope you enjoy.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Well, to everyone out there, I say keep on keeping on, stay safe, stay sane, and keep a little Broadway in your life. I'm Lance Roberts, and this is my very special guest, Josh Breckenridge, or J. Breckenridge, and J.B. Y'all.
Thank you for having me, Lance.
Absolutely. Anytime. Peace y'all.